Hello, welcome back to the rendered image. It's still playing on my phone. Welcome back to the rendered image. Insert catchy phrase here that I haven't come up with yet. Thank you so much for joining the show. Hopefully everything is going well. Hopefully you guys can hear me. We have a special guest. Christian Aguilar is with us today. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. We're going to be talking about Val Kilmer. He's got a documentary out. We're going to be celebrating the work and the legend that is Richard Donner. He directed Superman, Goonies, The Omen, Lady Hawk, Superman 1, part of Superman 2. He's a legend. Let's see. We are obviously going to talk about Loki, and we're going to talk about the What If trailer. The What If trailer dropped. It's a Disney Plus series. It's a cartoon animated series based on the Marvel characters. So I got some screen grabs. We'll talk about that. We'll meet Christian. We'll get Christian's, life story and all the fun stuff he's up to. He's got some fun banners behind him. We'll definitely know that he is a Marvel fan. So it's going to be a Marvel-centered episode, but also, too, we'll throw in some DC because we got Val Kilmer, obviously. Probably shot up to one of my most anticipated films of the year. But without further ado, if you guys could let me know in the chat if you can hear me, and then when we switch over, let me know if you can hear him. So we're going to switch over right now to Christian. Are you ready, Christian? All right, here we go. Switching over. How you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I just turned you on now. Sorry.
Cool. Awesome. Greetings.
Greetings. Of course, man. It's always great to have guests on. I'm a little small in my frame. I'm going to reposition myself. Oh no. We're all in boxes. But yeah, man. So welcome to the show. Been wanting to get you on for a few weeks now. That's cool, man. That's cool. That's the main goal of the show, honestly, is to just have like a fun time. And are you on, or did I mute you again? Can you talk?
Hello.
I think
anyone can hear me out
I
there.
accidentally muted you. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I said some beautiful stuff back there. No.
Well, all right. Well, welcome. I got I'm off the thing, so I won't mute you anymore. But welcome. We wanted to get you on the show for a few weeks now, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the show. The show basically is to just like talk about the news, man. Talk about the movie news, get people excited, get people hyped. It's kind of it's a main goal for me.
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. Filmmaking opens up windows and gateways to parts of the world you never expected. So it's beautiful, man. It's awesome to share the love.
So let's talk a little bit about you. Let's focus on you for the first part of the show a little bit. We obviously, for people who don't know, we went to school together, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, film school.
So yes,
Yep.
That's, I don't know. Well, for safety purposes, maybe we don't mention exactly where that is. I can't remember if I've mentioned where we went to school or not, but we're just
in the same city together.
Exactly. So
that's where
we'll just keep that to ourselves. But yeah, what did you study? You did the associate's program?
I do. I'm currently doing the bachelor's.
Oh, the bachelor's. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in between my third and fourth year currently.
Got it.
So starting up in the fall, I will begin my fourth. So that's very exciting. Because I know the thesis is coming up, and the thesis is it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Man, I'm going through it with my thesis. For some reason, I don't know. We'll get it done.
Yeah. That's the mindset you got to be in. Regardless, you just got to get it done.
What's up, Designer Grant? Welcome to the show. How you doing? I hope you've been having a great week, man. Good to see you. Good to see you around. We got some fun topics today for sure. So everyone knows, we're going to save Loki till the end. So you guys can stick around for the show. Don't worry about it. And we'll let you know when we're going to talk Loki spoilers and all that fun jazz.
If you haven't seen it yet. Got time to catch up.
You guys can hear me all right? Hello, Alan. Do you know Alan? Is Alan somebody that you know? I don't know.
Yes.
Yes?
I know an Alan. Yeah, I know an
In the
Alan.
chat, is this somebody that you know? Welcome, Alan. Thank you so much for showing up to the show. So, all right. So you study directing, yeah?
Yes, I'm currently studying directing. I'm getting a bachelor's in directing.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about school and what you've learned, maybe, and maybe what you do. You have any plans, or do you have like any? Are you writing anything? Are you team? Do you have a writer director team? Are you looking for that? What are you looking for right now?
As of right now, really quickly, I don't want to get too deep into this, but I just came off of a physical injury, and I took off the summer to kind of like take that healing process. And now, since everything is cleared and I'm good now, I feel like getting back into it. So what I've been doing recently is assistant directing, first AD, breaking down the script, marking it down, sending out the call sheets, scheduling everything for day one, seeing if we can shoot for a certain time. How many scenes can we do in a certain amount of time? How many shots can we get? That right now, I'm really loving that role, because I haven't really done that in the past. I was always fortunate enough to be like the director, like the creative director for a short film. For some other, I look back to it now, I'm like, holy crap, I had like a lot of opportunities in the director's chair in film school. And I have to take a moment to be grateful for that, because that's the one thing I always wanted to do. I always wanted to exercise that. But what got in the way was, of course, sending one message to a multiple group of people. How can we get everyone on the same boat? How can everyone see the movie I see up here?
That's tough.
That's hard. Yeah.
That's why it's called film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it has to get to the screen some way, and people have their own interpretations, and people, can interpret things differently and be like, well, I can see the story going this way and the story going that way. And then that's when the egos start getting in there a little bit. You can't help but feel like the egos are in there, and it also depends on the type of people you work with. Some people I know feel intimidated working with older people in the industry, because they seem like, well, maybe they have more experience than me. But yet I'm in a weird position where I'm in a role where I'm supposed to kind of like direct them and tell them to do this and do that. And I'm like, I'm their boss. It feels kind of intimidating at first.
Well, you know what that reminds me of is the George Lucas story when he made Star Wars for the first time, and he went over when he went over to England. He had a whole crew of a bunch of old English dudes, and they just were like making fun of him and like not wanting to listen to him. So that reminds me of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine being in that position as George Lucas, man. You're coming with something so original, kind of ahead of its time a little bit. And again, like I said before, conveying one message to multiple heads. Yeah. Like, it's hard, man. It's like, I got this vision, just kind of see it my way, huh? Like, just be submissive this one time and just see things my way.
Well, also too, I mean, he was coming off of, him and Brian De Palma and Steven Spielberg. Like, those dudes were just like, they knew what was up. Like, they knew where the industry was going. Like, they were the new blood. And I can't imagine, you're just like, nope, like, we're going to do it this way. And you know how he's always talked, and this is kind of a little bit of a tangent, so sorry, but we're going to go on this tangent a little bit. But, he's always been, when he talks about the prequels, he was always like, well, this is like what I imagined in my head. This is like as close as it gets, and this is what I wanted to do in the original trilogy. And that always blew my mind, because I'm like, wow, back in 1977, like this, or 75, or whenever, when he was writing the scripts, it's like he had the vision, like he knew where the industry was going to go, and he's the one that pushed it there. It's mind blowing. Him and James Cameron, man, like I tell you, those two. No, go ahead.
Besides having a crystal ball, because they saw where the industry was going like perfectly, and they rode that wave amazingly. As you can see, they pumped out classic after classic. So they had a crystal ball somewhere. But besides that, having the confidence in something so original that only you lived in for so long, because it's like basically you in the story. You're living with it for so many months, years, So you're like, okay, do I have the confidence? Does this make sense? Can I fish it out to people, and will other people latch onto it? That's also a big challenge, So having the confidence in your story is also a major thing, Even if you live with it for so long, you can probably be like, maybe I don't want to share that just yet, It needs some more flesh in it. So yeah, man.
So yeah.
To Lucas.
So directing. What type of stuff do you want to direct?
If I can do like a solid horror film, that'd be fun. I would love to. I think Tarantino put it like, it was like, your audience is like, you're orchestrating your audience. You tell them when to laugh. You tell them when to cry. You tell them when to be scared.
Yes.
And so if I can have like at least one movie of like a good number of dramas, like if I can make a good romantic movie and have someone cry, that's awesome. Even if I do it once, and then my next movie's a hilarious comedy. Like a very quotable one, like, oh my God, I remember that scene from this and that, that would be awesome to have underneath my belt as well. Along with a horror movie that kind of freaks people out and disturbs people, like, oh, that's unsettling. Of course, that's all subjective, I mean, but
it could be submissive nice too. You never know.
Yeah, it could be submissive too.
Your film could be so good.
Yeah, it could be so good it makes people submissive.
Hey.
They want to try new things. But yeah, it's like, to have one of those under your belt, I think would be awesome, like an awesome achievement, and I think if you can probably mix little aspects of them into your movies, kind of like what Tarantino did, he can make us laugh at some points, he can put us on edge at other points, but yeah, I think that'd be cool to have, one of every genre.
One of every genre. So what do you think what are your strengths as a filmmaker?
I think understanding the story and the characters. Because even reading other people's scripts in film school, which is also something you're going to be doing,
right.
You're going to be writing your own and reading others. Sometimes it's hard to pick up on characters and to really try to relate to them, even when you're not writing it, especially so when you're not writing it. And so when I found that, I can find a script and be like, oh, this is right, and this is good. And I don't know how can I describe it, but it's like I can differentiate between a good script and a bad script, something I didn't have confidence I thought I wasn't going to be able to do, but I ended up finding it by just reading so many other people's scripts, because some people sometimes know what they're seeing, they know the vision that they have already, and they paint it out beautifully, and so you can follow along with it, and then you can have your own interpretation as a director if you're directing someone else's script, right?
Yeah.
And so for some odd reason, it just felt like a subconscious thing where I picked up on that, and I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. But of course the hard part is, how do you tell the person what you read is not good? That's kind of like a difficult thing to go around, it's like constructive criticism.
Yeah. It's so difficult too, especially with the thing that I always think about now is like, we live in a world where like anything is possible. Like, it's just kind of the truth. Like you could make pretty much anything as long as you have obviously enough money and enough time. You could pretty much do anything. And it's like, but it makes it harder, because it's like, well, how do you tell people this isn't doable? And also too, there's so many different mediums. So, and art is subjective. So how do you tell somebody, well, that's not going to work, because they may interpret, and also too, what is on the page, it's just what's on the page. And obviously, like, we just know this from reading things in film school, but like, and then because the way that film school is set up is, students obviously write something, they submit it to everybody in the class, and then the class reads the script, and then we all get together in class, and basically we either reread it together or we share our thoughts. So it's such a, and that's not really like how it's done not necessarily, and that's not how it's done in the industry, but like usually there's like a table read, or you're like sitting with the director, like the director's sitting with the actor, and they're reading the script together, or whatever. But in the film school way, it's like, okay, we get emailed the script, we read the scripts, not with the filmmaker that wrote it, and then we sit down with the filmmaker that wrote it, and we give our feedback. It's very strange.
It's a very disconnected process to begin with.
Yes.
Because you're not sitting down with the person that came up with it.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, I had my interpretation of it, and then it's kind of weird, because it puts the filmmaker, the student filmmaker, if you want to, I think there's no such thing as, I think you're always learning as a filmmaker, and from the moment you pick up a camera, from the moment you decide you want to make movies, you're a filmmaker. So James Cameron said it best. There's, in his masterclass, he said that there's there's the moment when you're not a filmmaker, and there's the moment when you get inspired, and then after that moment, you're a filmmaker. And it can happen in like 2 seconds.
Because you're going out and doing it.
Exactly. The moment before you realize you want to be a filmmaker, and the moment after, and then there's really no going back.
Nice.
So
the masterclass was shot in a submarine, 3,000 feet below the sea level.
So, what's up, Tyson? What's up, Tyson? He won't be able to stay, but that's okay. Hello, Nate. How you doing? Do you know Nate? I'm assuming you know Nate.
Yeah.
He said.
I know Nate too.
He said, "My boy."
These are my high school boys, man.
Awesome
to see them here, man.
So speaking of moments, right? What was the moment that inspired you to become a filmmaker? Do you have one, or do you have a few, or what do you think?
Yeah, I have one. It's when I watched The Lord of the Rings when I was like 4.
Dude.
3 years old, man. 2003, 2004.
That wasn't my moment, but that was definitely in the early moments.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean,
it happened around the same time as my.
I also saw like Pulp Fiction at the time too. I was relatively young when I saw Pulp Fiction, I'll be honest. And I just thought, because I've seen like, your typical like narrative before. Even when I was younger, I picked up on narratives from TV, like TV shows, like there's a beginning, end. You got your will they, won't they relationships. You got your goofy ones, you got your more white collared ones, so it's like, there was like a formula to it. So I'm like, okay, all right, this is storytelling. So I'm like, when I saw The Lord of the Rings, I was like, holy crap. This is beyond story. This is a fucking world, man. And I think I saw Lord of the Rings before I saw Star Wars. And
interesting.
And before I saw maybe like, I knew Spider-Man, of course. Who doesn't know Spider-Man? What kid doesn't know Spider-Man? But when I got into any other fandoms, it was like Lord of the Rings cinematically that really took me away.
Yeah.
And all 3 films to me are just like great.
Dude.
I mean, like all 3, I can't choose. There needs to be a supercut, 8-hour long Lord of the Rings trilogy from beginning to end. I'd sit through it. Dude. Man, dude, it's like they work some magic. They work magic, I think, 100%.
Oh, and yeah.
The main reason why Hobbit didn't capture the same magic was because it wasn't practical, man. It was all CG, man. There was no practical. Lord of the Rings is a masterclass on how to use CGI. It's a makeup, I think. That's right.
Yeah, dude, it was that, and I know people like to bag on the prequels, but dude, those movies were. I think visually the prequels still hold up.
For sure, they're fun movies.
I think visually the Lord of the Rings still holds up. What's interesting about that is the story behind Lord of the Rings. I mean, Peter Jackson and his team were like, they were writing the scripts and figuring out how they were going to do it. And they shopped it around to a bunch of studios, and everybody was just like, this is impossible. This is too expensive. This is too ambitious. And like, we don't want to put our money behind it.
Right.
But and then they went to one last meeting, and Peter said, okay, it was New Line. And if New Line wasn't going to pick them up, he was going to forget it, and he wasn't going to do it.
Yeah,
it was the last meeting they had, and the guy was. They sat down because they made a sizzle reel, or like a sizzle reel of like boards and all this other stuff, and they sat there and they played it. Oops, sorry, they sat there and they played it in front of the executive, and at first they only planned to do 2 movies. That was their original plan, and the executive said, "Well, aren't there 3 books?" And so then he greenlit 3 movies. He said, "No, let's make 3 movies." So, I mean, I guess that's something that always teaches me, where it's like, you never know where opportunities are going to come from.
True.
And you just got to keep pushing, and you just got to keep making things.
Mm-hmm. And again, that's that confidence in your project.
Yeah, definitely.
You gotta have it.
And I think also too, you have to understand, like, life is a growing process, right? Like, it's the whole point of living is to learn and grow as a person. And I apply the same the same things to my filmmaking and my filmmaking skills. It's like, I used to have like set milestones where I was like, okay, by this time I'll be here, by this time I'll be here. But then I was just like, no, not going to do that, because that puts too much pressure on you, I think, as in your creative life. Obviously, if in your personal life, whatever. But maybe creatively, it can be harder to achieve certain goals that you set for yourself.
True. It's like, in a weird way, it's almost like setting yourself up for failure. You kind of want to prevent that, because you're like putting too much on yourself, and you're like, oh, can I do this? Can I do this? Especially if you're very ambitious.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to balance, for sure.
But
yeah, I mean, other than Lord of the Rings, man, Pulp Fiction was a big one for me too.
How old were you when you saw that?
I think I was a little bit older. I had to be probably 5 or 6.
That's pretty young.
5 or 6 for Pulp Fiction, and I'm like,
I think I was like 14 when I saw Pulp Fiction for the first time.
That's a good age. That's a good age for any sane person to be watching. Yeah, 14's a good age. But at least I didn't see like American Psycho. I saw like American Psycho when I was 14, so at least there's that. But Pulp Fiction I loved because, of course, obviously the narrative was out of order, and me being a young kid and just watching that for my first time, I didn't know it was based off a lot of like French films, because I seen like a handful of French films that kind of follow that narrative.
Right.
And so when I saw that in Pulp Fiction, I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. That's so original. Tarantino's like, there's no one better. It's like, oh my God, I'm the only person that knows about Tarantino, this and this and that. And then of course it's so cool to go and see his inspirations and be like, oh, okay, this is where it stemmed from. And then you see that with everyone, of course.
Yeah.
And I think, that's the one thing that kept my interest through Pulp Fiction was how are they going to wrap it up together? Are any of these guys all going to meet, or is it all going to be a big shootout at the end? How is it going to go? And I just loved, I just like said, if a movie can be like that, if it can be told out of order, you can do a movie that you find will be fun.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it, and that like further drew the inspiration.
What's the chat saying? Let's see. Mijit, is that his name? He says, I think you're able. Do you know this guy?
Yeah, it's Nate. It's the same dude.
Oh, nice. He says, I think you're able to grasp the general idea of the film. In other words, you understand what they want to do. It's just a matter of execution. Some alterations, maybe, and tweaks here and there. Yeah. No, but sometimes, it's a collaborative effort, and I think you have to be able, especially when you get into, because I'm post-production, right? That's what I mainly focus on. And when projects are brought to me, it is very, I'm kind of like the last sort of, I should be involved from the very beginning, but like I'm the last piece of the puzzle. So it's like I have, obviously, if there's reshoots or whatever, like you can go and reshoot things or pick up shots or whatever, but like I have what I have to work with.
Yeah.
And so
resources are everything.
Yeah, I've experienced times where it's like something, and it's like, oh well, maybe that was your intention when you wrote it. Maybe that was even your intention on set, but that's not what you captured on the screen. That's not what's in front of me.
Right.
And so, but I just think that comes with doing, you know what I'm saying? Like, That's why these big, great filmmakers are so great, is because they're able to translate their vision to multiple people. That's really like, I think what the best like traits of a director is to be able is to know how to speak to actors, and then turn around and know how to talk to your cinematographer, and also be able to talk to your VFX department. Like, it's crucial.
Right.
But either way, I think
of when you were talking about being open to like changes and stuff, and what you see on the final film isn't what you always pictured. I think of that funny moment where Martin Scorsese said he couldn't sit through like the first cut of what was it? Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Couldn't sit through Goodfellas. And I think either it was the first cut or the premiere itself. Like, he got up and left. He was just like, I couldn't sit through that shit. It was like, really hard for him to watch. It's like as if you made like a home movie and then you showed it in front of like thousands of people or hundreds of people, you know, and you just felt that embarrassment. And I thought that was really interesting because everyone's like, dude, that was a fucking masterpiece. What are you talking about? It's like, but yeah, but it wasn't what was up here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I find that very hilarious.
Yeah,
Very,
I mean, you have to let the project speak to you. You know, I mean, it has a life of its own. Realistically, I cannot, and I'm sure you can. I'm sure it's the same for you. I'm sure it's the same for any creative. I'm sure it's, you know, music might be a little different. Again, I don't know. I'm not a musician, but you can pretty much hear things in your head and then make them right there on the spot. Where I think it might be more of a little bit a direct translation from what's in your head. But with filmmaking, there's multiple people involved and multiple directions and tweaks and changes and stuff like that. And so, yeah, eventually your film kind of becomes something different.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met a filmmaker that's like, this was my exact vision to a T. Maybe other than Tarantino.
Wes Anderson.
Oh, yeah, true.
Storyboards are insane, dude.
That is true.
Like,
that is true.
Layer them together.
That is true.
Layer them on top. That is true. That's masterful.
Nano, how you doing, Nano? He says, talk about Inglourious Bastards in Hollywood.
Assuming Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I'm assuming that's what he means.
Nano, another friend of mine.
How you doing, Nano? Do you like Inglourious Bastards? I do too.
Inglourious Bastards was cool. It was fun.
I like the pacing of Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
I think it's his best paced movie for sure.
Yeah, I really found that it stood out. It stood out for sure because at times it took itself seriously and then other times it had fun.
Yeah.
I felt.
Yes.
And that was like a good mixture.
Good balance of tones for sure.
Yeah. 100%.
Especially if you guys are new here, please drop a like. I didn't even say this. We've been going forever. I didn't even say this. Please drop a like if you enjoy the stream. Christian's links to his channel is in the description, so go check him out, subscribe. He does reaction videos and review videos. It's pretty awesome. I'm saying. I watch them. As soon as they drop, I watch them, I like them, and I share them. We also have an official Facebook page and group. You can join the community. It's linked on the page. So it's a Facebook page, but then you can also join the group. That is also linked in the description. So please join the community because we have fun there. Yeah, did you know? So do you have a 4K Blu-ray player? Are you 4K at all?
I do not. I'm still
I don't
on
either.
The Blu-rays.
I know.
Nope,
I don't either. They just released the original Space Jam in 4K. So.
Oh, did they?
Yes, it looks beautiful. Also, too,
interesting.
They released Lord of the Rings in 4K, and I was really jealous. Oh, dude, I was like, dude, I
love how now it's like, because I know like for a long time the first film had like this greenish tint to it, and the other two films didn't. And I think that's because the type of slipping on the camera name, but the camera that they were using had a newer model that came out when they were filming the sequels. And so they switched to that camera, and that had like a in real time like digital color tracing in the camera. And so it picked up like real time color, but the first one that it was shot on didn't pick it up. And so they had like this greenish tint all throughout the Fellowship. So they said every single DVD release had that green tint, and it was never cohesive with the rest of it. I personally never minded it, honestly, until I read up on it.
I didn't realize it until now.
Okay. Yeah. And so I guess now this 4K release has all three like digital colors remastered. So it's like all cohesive. It's like the look of it. If you're really asinine about that.
But now I'm going to probably watch them and I'm going to be like, this doesn't look the same. Because we grew up with the other version.
Right.
We grew up with the other version of the movie. Yeah.
Right. I saw the comparisons and I saw that some details are missing because it looks darker. For some odd reason, like some of the shadows in the horses, like you don't see the details in the horse's armor. And I'm like, well, okay. Maybe it's because I'm looking at it on my phone or something. Maybe on an actual 4K.
That could be too. That could
beautiful.
That could be too. But I don't know. I mean, there is we can move on to the topics. I know we've been chatting about a lot of other stuff. But yeah,
we just.
But yeah, we'll get into the topics for sure. All right, so the first topic up today, tonight, whatever. Val Kilmer, the documentary called Val, from Val Kilmer himself. Batman, Tombstone. What else has he been in?
The Doors, that Doors movie.
The Doors,
He was
yes.
really good as Jim Morrison.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So he has basically the whole premise of the documentary, from the time he started acting. I mean, there's footage in this documentary of him as like a child, but he was one of the first people to have a video camera around in the industry, and he filmed behind the scenes of all these movies that he made. And so the documentary is documenting his journey through his career.
Yeah, that was cool to see. Like, you saw like young Sean Penn in the trailer.
Yep,
They
Kevin
showed
Bacon. Yep.
Kevin Bacon as well. And it's pretty cool that he still like owns these home movies that he basically did. Like you said, he was the first to really record everything, you know. And so I know because I was listening to this Conan O'Brien podcast and Sean Penn was the guest on there.
Yeah.
And they brought up how Sean Penn used to film all of his short films with like Emilio Estevez and all these people that are like, you know, actors now that you would like recognize. And they said, oh yeah, we used to shoot that in high school and this and that, but all the footage was a victim of like a house fire he had back some time ago. And so all those home movies were lost. So it's really cool. So it was kind of creepy when I saw the trailer for this, because I'm like, oh shit, because I saw Sean Penn, like a young Sean Penn in a home movie. I'm like, dude, I was just listening to this. I was just listening about this. And I was kind of freaked out. So I'm like, so that really intrigued me about this documentary. I wanted to see that time that they were filming, you know, what were they doing? What was like, because I feel like that's like events. Like those are just the young kids of that industry and they're just letting themselves out creatively.
Mhm.
And I would love to see like just like a scissor reel of all their home movies, you know. I think that'd just be so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, obviously for at least my generation, and I'm, you know, you're part of that too, but it's like this guy, I mean, Michael Keaton came before Val Kilmer as Batman, but like this is kind of my introduction to Batman, like a live action Batman. Like
Forever.
Yeah, like I was a child, like I was a little kid when his movie came out, him and Jim Carrey and that whole movie. I mean, that was the one that I gravitated towards. Obviously, I had seen Michael Keaton's Batman when I was younger. Like my uncles would play that on VHS, so I would see it. You know, I knew who Michael Keaton's Batman was, but like this was like the colorful Batman that, you know, I was like,
right.
And I personally think he's got one of the best Batman suits. To be honest, I think he looks. I don't know. It just looks.
Did he have the yellow emblem? I'm slipping on his bat suit design. Did he have that yellow emblem?
It was like a gold. Like they toned it down, I think.
Okay.
I'm almost positive, but yeah, I think they toned it down. But I thought he played a great Bruce Wayne, dude. Like I know Forever kind of gets a little bit of a bad rap. I don't know why. I think it's, you know, Joel Schumacher. Rest in peace, Joel Schumacher. He's a great filmmaker.
True. I forget he passed away. Yeah.
So I think Joel Schumacher just wanted to make a more. I think he was inspired by the 60s TV show, and I think he wanted to bring that side out a little bit. And the 60s were a little bit more wacky in the comic books too, and I think he just wanted to modernize that for the, you know, in the 90s. And obviously, yeah, so yeah, it's a little
subtle. I like it. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
He just
has the bat nipples though.
See the bat, but he just looks badass in the costume though, bro. Like Christian Bale did too.
Very true.
And obviously, I think they got Michael Keaton to look badass in the second one, but that first one, Michael Keaton's looking a little like the cowl doesn't even fit him. Like there's a gap in between the cowl and his face.
Yeah.
In the first one, yeah. So
like a Party City mask.
Exactly. Yes.
Mask you buy.
No, Val Kilmer looks badass in that suit for sure.
Tommy Lee, that's what I remember from the movie.
Tommy Lee's a maniac.
Tommy Lee Jones,
but
dude, his Two-Face.
This documentary easily jumped to the top of my list for this year. I was like, oh wow, okay, we're gonna see this. It's on Amazon Prime, I think, right? Yeah.
Yes, Amazon.
So if you're an Amazon Prime member, you'll be able to see it. It's premiering at Cannes this week.
The Cannes.
The Cannes Film Festival is this week. So I'm very, very excited. And obviously the tragic, you know, he had throat cancer And so we see a little bit of that in the trailer, which I didn't realize had gotten that bad. I knew that he had throat cancer, but I thought he beat it. I thought he got over it. I didn't realize it was it.
It was pretty jarring to see in the trailer. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So
I was like, yeah. And that's one of the last things they show you too, is because you want to watch the documentary.
mhm.
Yeah, good editing for the trailer too. It was a good trailer.
And like
I'm excited for this.
and like I said, I think obviously there, my parents' generation and everything, and grandparents and stuff, who were, kind of his age at the time. It's just interesting because like I said, this was my Batman. Like this, he was a superhero for me first and foremost. That's how I got introduced to him, and so. Yeah, it's just strange. I'm glad that it exists, but it's like, and I'm excited to see behind the scenes of Batman, and I'm saying like all footage that I've never seen before, and who knows. But yeah, I'm super excited, and I cannot wait to see the documentary.
Yeah, looks good for sure. I'm probably gonna get Prime just to watch this.
Oh yeah,
'Cause I currently don't have Prime right now, so
got to get Prime. I don't know if it's gonna get a theater release or not. I don't know. But let's move on to topic number 2, shall we?
Cool.
They dropped the What If trailer this morning. Trailer number 2, by the way. Can you tell us what If is? While I pull up photos.
What If is it's a new Disney Plus series that's based on the Marvel comics of the same name. And it's where they take different possibilities that could possibly happen in the Marvel universe.
Yes.
Just fun what ifs. Like some famous ones, like what if Ned got bit by the radioactive spider?
Oh my goodness.
We got Ned as Spider-Man. There we go.
Yes. If you guys are new here, I see that we just got a couple new people coming in. Please drop a like on this video. Share this video if you enjoy movie news. You can join our Facebook group. Links are in the description. This is my guest, Christian Aguilar. His link to his YouTube channel is in the description as well. You can go follow us on all the social medias and check up on us and stuff like this. This show happens every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We do movie and movie news. So it's funny that this trailer dropped because when we met yesterday to prep for the show, we were hoping that we were going to get a different trailer. But we didn't. Tyler always hopes every day that when he wakes up that we're going to get this Spider-Man trailer, and when we don't, I die inside a little bit every day. But it's okay. It's okay.
I don't know how much I have left in me. Release it.
Dude, every day I wake up with a little hope.
Just a little bit.
I pull up the phone and I'm like, nope, it's not there. But we got this. So and this was a pleasant surprise. So I pulled up some screen grabs of some interesting moments. Obviously, this right here is Tony Stark. And now you have a reaction to this on your channel.
I do.
So go check out his reaction.
I always watch my trailers live. I've never watched my trailers before I hit record. It's always raw reaction.
Yes, always has to be raw reactions. I thought about doing. It's so funny because I had class this morning. So I saw that this popped up. I had class, and I thought about it during class. I was like, am I going to do a reaction to this? But then when I got out of class, I saw that you had the reaction to this, and I was like, nope. I was like, I'm just going to watch your reaction. So I just watched your reaction to the trailer. I didn't make one myself. So, and then I also I shared it on our Facebook page too. So,
thank you so much.
Of course, man. Of course.
Always appreciate it. I like your mug. What's your mug?
This is Harry Potter.
Nice.
Gryffindor.
Is that your house? Did you take the?
No, it's not my house. I'm a Ravenclaw technically, but
okay. Interesting.
Gryffindor is just kind of, I don't know. I like Gryffindor.
I'm still waiting on my acceptance letter. I haven't taken the test. I don't know what else I am.
Yo, what's up, Kiwan? How you doing?
Ooh, Kiwan.
Kiwan, what'd you think of the What If trailer? Did you like it? Did you dig it? Alicia says, every day you're one day closer to the Spidey trailer. That is true.
Very true.
I guess that's true. So, but what? Okay, so back to this. You said in your trailer reaction, you were like, you wondered if this was Robert Downey Jr.'s voice,
Yes.
and I wondered the same thing. I was like,
Okay.
because I don't know if it was him or not.
Sounds like a little bit of a knockoff, but I don't know. It just sounded like, I'm like, come on, this is Marvel, right? I had to double check. It was like Marvel official.
Yeah, no, this is Marvel
I'm like,
official. Now,
sounding
they did bring actors back though. Like,
yes,
the actors are playing their characters in this for sure.
yeah. So, T'Challa, Chadwick's last performance is this.
Yes.
So that's gonna be crazy. To really like watch it with that in your mind. It's gonna be pretty trippy.
So in this clip, what happens here? Obviously, the Stark bomb comes in, and Killmonger grabs it and throws it away. Chucks it, basically saving Iron Man's Tony Stark's life, and therefore
changing the timeline.
So that'll be very interesting. Let's go to the next one. All right, this one right here. This one's kind of tiny. I apologize for it being so tiny. I can enlarge it. This is the Hulk, and the Hulk is clearly doing damage to a horde of things or people or something. I don't know what's going on here, but he is wrecking shop with these people.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing like that arm twirl, like a spin. He has his arms out, maybe, or he's busting out from the.
Or yeah, and doesn't he have? I could be totally wrong, but doesn't he have the ability? Well, he probably does, right? He has the ability to like clap and like send a concussive like wave of Hulk sweat. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Hulk sweat.
Welcome to Water World, bitch.
So I'm excited. I'm excited for this one. Next one we got here is this. Okay, I'm gonna make this bigger. Whoops, that's the wrong one.
That Thor choking out Loki. Or Iron Man.
This is the wrong one. What on earth? Oh, 3. There we go. This isn't Loki.
Or Iron Man.
No, those are Ultron bots.
Yep. And
that's Ultron.
There we go. I saw the lines in the face. I'm like, yep.
So that's super interesting. I've wanted Ultron to come back in the MCU so like pretty badly actually. I thought Ultron was cool, and I thought for them to just have Ultron be a one-off villain, I was like,
he's really freaking threatening in the comics. So
yes.
I really thought they were gonna tease him up, build him up, and I
still think they could have done. Still think they could have done a Thanos Ultron team up. That would have been awesome.
Damn. Talk about the end of the world, right? That would have been cool. That would have been awesome.
I
don't know, but I'm probably in a unpopular opinion here, but it's Ultron. I felt like the inspiration from Pinocchio was too. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
it was too on the nose for me because it's like Disney owns them, and I'm like, okay, when I watch a Marvel movie, I kind of don't want to be it's not Kingdom Hearts, so it's like I just want to stick with Marvel, man. So when you have your when you base your entire villain off of a Disney character, it's like for me when he was singing there's no strings on me, while he's flying, I'm like, okay, I mean this isn't the Ultron I pictured when I was reading the comics, but sure, I could just let that go, and still it was an awesome movie regardless, But that was just my little pet peeve with Ultron.
Right.
Not saying it was a bad interpretation, but it's just my little pet peeve.
What did you think about having them tie Ultron to Tony Stark instead of Hank Pym?
I was upset because I knew the Ant-Man movie was coming. So I thought maybe this was your time to introduce Ant-Man, this and this and that, And I felt like they always take the easy way out. It's Stark tech. Or it's Stark's reason, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, it doesn't have to always be Stark, but sure, you're the MCU, you can do whatever the hell you want. But it's like,
the universe was built around Stark for sure.
Yeah, that's why I hope Black Widow doesn't really do with Taskmaster, but I heard some rumors they might have done it. I don't know, I haven't seen it yet, but I could be wrong. But yeah, the whole Stark tech thing is, it's being reused. It's very formulaic for sure.
Hopefully we're getting away from that though with the newer films.
Hopefully, Yes, because we're getting into the multiverse now, so
Yay.
Stark Tech ain't good here.
Go on to the next one. So this right here, this looks like Loki's got his own army, dude. I don't know if this is Nick Fury or who this is or what's.
Yeah, this looks really interesting.
What this
kind of
is,
like,
but this is.
I wonder if this is like a what if for Loki, the series, and instead of like interacting with certain characters, he interacts with others. So like maybe like he would interact with Nick Fury for some odd reason.
Or I wonder if it's a variant that we've seen in the show.
Very true. This could be classic Loki.
Oh, it could be.
Could very well be. That's very interesting.
Be very cool.
Even the armor looks Loki-like, so you know it's like maybe the army was bred for him.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like from here. I see like maybe what could be horns on top. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
looks like speculation. It looks like he has some heroes or like maybe villains with him behind him as well.
Yeah, he's got some other people there too.
Very interesting.
I'm going to the next one.
That's pretty cool though. Oh, beautiful.
Yes. You want to tell us who this guy is?
I forgot his actual name. Yoatu, but he's the Watcher, dude. Part of all the Watchers, man. They watch over all the multiverse.
They watch over all the multiverses. Yes, they do.
Big giant baby. It's like 2001 big giant baby.
Now I think they're obviously I think they're doing things in this show, and also they're doing things in Loki. They're setting stuff up. They're bringing characters in that I think are going to probably get a live action Like I feel like we're going to get the Watcher in live action at some point.
Oh, yeah, we have to.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
voiced by Jeffrey Wright. Keep the voice because the voice is just beautiful. It's therapy, man.
Alicia says maybe it's what if the TVA doesn't interrupt Loki when he steals the Tesseract?
Oh, very true. Very, very true. That's a good one.
That is a good call.
Shield will still be after him, right? And that could I mean, that's good. If it's not that, now I'm gonna be a little disappointed. No,
right?
I'm kidding. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see Loki's episode. Wonder what they're gonna center him around. Oh, dude.
Dude, I picked like the images where I was like, okay, hold on.
Yes.
So this is obviously Marvel Zombies.
100%.
Marvel Zombies.
Uatu. I see. I'm sorry. I see Edward Castro's.
What is
Uatu? Is that the name? Uatu?
That's the name of the Watcher. Thank you, Edward. Thank you.
Uatu.
This is Marvel Zombies. Now, Marvel Zombies, what is its own comic run? Is that the right term?
Yeah, it's its own comic series. I don't think
series. Yeah.
Towards the end, I heard it meshes over with other. Well, like I heard they came through to the 616 for some time crisis storyline that they had going. I'm not too sure on that, but I heard they eventually kind of like crossed them over with a multiverse thing.
Yeah.
And it was to sell comics. It was to sell books, just to be like, hey, look, the Marvel Zombies are ultimately in this battle too. Buy it. You know?
So here's my question to you. Obviously, we know that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is coming.
Yes.
In 2022. I think March of 2022. Do you think we're going to see, do you think we're in that movie, do you think we're going to see the Marvel Zombies teased or hinted at all?
That would be awesome. I think they would be dumb not to, because if you're setting it up for your What If animated series, you got to come on, you're one cohesive universe. You're marketing yourself as that. So keep it connected. And it would be so cool for that to be Bruce Campbell's cameo.
Oh yeah.
The classic Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell collaboration.
Yeah.
Have him as Ash. Dude, if you ever read the beginning of Marvel Zombies, it's the Necronomicon Ex Mortis and Ash that really kind of started off a little bit. It's so fucking cool. It's like he teleports right into the Marvel. He's like drop dead center into it. And it's like he has to help certain ragtag groups of heroes. And it's just so awesome. And I really, really hope they pay homage to that by having his cameo there. He beheads maybe Iron Man or something.
That'd be crazy.
With his chainsaw, and he gives a one-liner, and then he closes the portal really quick, and he's like, "Oh, that was a wrong timeline," or something like that. Like a funny one-off. That would be pretty cool. I think they should 100%.
That would be awesome. I really hope that happens. This is all canon, right? This is all from what I remember.
The comic or
The what if?
Oh, the series. It should be canon.
I think it is.
I hope it is. I hope it's not. They're not taking the what if too seriously, because I hope, like I said, I hope it's like a window into other timelines.
Yeah.
I hope that is it 100%.
And it could, it could be an experiment, an experimental ground. It allows Disney to be like, okay, which one gets really popular? Which one gets, or multiple or whatever? What really makes people go nuts? And
what can we give our live action money to?
Exactly. What can we give? Yeah, what can we give our live action money to? What can be a new series, a new spin-off series, whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. I hope at least one of these, couple of these go that route.
Yeah. There's another Ultron, obviously.
Ultron looks more, yeah. Well,
or is it Iron Man?
That's what I was gonna say. It looks more Iron Man based.
Yeah,
like, it looks like maybe like a Ultron suit that he created, like an Ultron Iron Man mixed armor.
Evil Iron Man? I don't know.
Evil Iron Man. What if Ultron took over?
Yeah.
Everything,
Yeah.
Very interesting. It looks like maybe it could be in space. It's just that dark, but I just think maybe what if it's in space?
Yeah.
Like this particular scene. Who knows?
I don't know. We'll have to wait. This comes out August
12th. Was it 12 or 20? I remember a 2 in the date.
Or 20. And then this. I don't know. You gotta help me on this one.
Okay, honestly, I think that looks like Peter Parker from like Into the Spider-Verse or something. Like it looks like a variant of like Peter Parker's head. Like I can't think of any other, unless that's what, Ant-Man, Paul Rudd's head.
I was gonna say that's either Paul Rudd or Tom Holland.
Yeah, so it's either Spider-Man or Ant-Man that got his head cut off, and it's like Futurama style.
Yeah,
like
this guy right here is Vision.
Oh yeah, no, I look at it on my big screen. Yeah, I can see his color scheme. Yeah, it's Vision.
So who's just a head? Also, kind of looks like Mysterio. I'm just kidding. Because he's got the bowl.
It could very well be. He just picks up the head and just pops it on. He's Mysterio.
August. Edward says August 11th. Or not. Yeah, August 11th. Yeah. Thanks, Edward.
11th. Okay.
Thank you, Edward.
Right.
If you guys are new here, please drop a like on the stream. It's greatly appreciated. It lets YouTube know that we are out here. We are making shows. We are talking movie and movie news. Greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much. And you can hit the subscribe button if you want to. You don't have to, but it really helps out. It helps us. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're talking about Marvel's What If, all that fun jazz. Thank you so much for joining the stream if you're new. What's next? Richard Donner. All right. Richard Donner. This man right here is a legend in the filmmaking world. You would not have modern superhero movies without this man. It's just a fact. For multiple reasons. You would not have Kevin Feige without this man. It's a fact.
Very true.
He had his career spanned many decades. He started directing TV, and then he made his feature film debut with The Omen, which I'm not a horror person, so I have not seen The Omen.
I am. I love The Omen.
Tell us a little bit about The Omen. And what makes it a good movie?
Well, if you haven't seen it, it's about like the birth of Satan's kid. So it's like a prophecy. So it's like how the second coming is for Jesus Christ. It's the second coming for the opposite, So he gets adopted by this couple that I believe they lost their child during childbirth.
Okay.
So they had the option to adopt from that same hospital, and they went with that, And throughout this whole movie, it's like that whole, oh, my kid's acting weird. Like, you want to know where the scary kid thing came from? It probably came from The Omen. It's just like that creepy kid running around. He's evil. It's always a he said, she said. But the way it's done, it was very subtle because you don't see a lot of paranormal things happening in it.
Okay.
It's always like freak accidents whenever the kid's around. And then it's always like the kid's always acting suspicious. Like he's always like looking around like, haha, maybe I did it. Like, you little evil shit. It's like, it's very subtle in its approach, but when it hits, you with the disturbing imagery, it hits you with it,
Mm.
and it's pretty freaky, and it throws you off at times because it's like it's classy in its approach, like kind of like a Rosemary's Baby. It's classy in its approach, but then it hits you with certain imagery, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, so that's unsettling, But and then they did the remake, and we don't talk about the remake, but the first one, man,
the first one.
That was really good. It's up there. It's like my top 3 favorite horror movies.
That's awesome.
Up there. Yeah.
And then obviously one of his bigger he's big, the Goonies obviously was a big film for him, and then obviously Christopher Reeve Superman.
Yeah, for sure. The first 2.
Yep.
I heard the director's cut.
Yep.
I remember that when that whole thing was out too.
So it's interesting because I grew up on special features, kind of my window into filmmaking before, because I started shooting stuff on like mini DV tape and like even like VHS small cassette tape, right? So, and this was before, like I didn't get a computer until I was like 13.
Yeah.
So this is before I knew how to cut anything or whatever, but I had these special features, and what was so cool was the Superman Blu-ray, not Blu-ray, DVD at the time.
Yeah.
Had these special features, and so he was one of the first filmmakers that I was introduced to, along with obviously George Lucas. And so just hearing him talk about his love for Superman and him crafting this world and seeing him, it was before Batman, it was before obviously anything modern Marvel that we know, what I'm saying? We owe it all to this guy. Mm-hmm. Straight up. We owe it all to this dude because he was able to make Superman probably the most unrelatable superhero. Like,
very much
believable in the 70s when you didn't have, this came out 78, so this would have been a year after the first Star Wars movie. So,
wow.
So obviously big inspiration for me because he was just obviously one of the first directors that I put a name to a face. I didn't really know who directors were at the time when I was a kid,
right.
But like here, and he had a really deep voice, really soothing, like deep voice, and like hearing him talk about movies is like super cool. And he mentioned something called verisimilitude. It's a word he made up. I can't say it. Verisimilitude.
Verisimilitude.
And basically, the way that I interpreted it was making, like I said, making Superman believable. So anytime you decide to make a movie, anytime you decide to on a filmmaking venture, you have to have verisimilitude in your film. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be believable on some level in terms of, there has to be believable elements within your film. Even no matter how super it is, no matter how fantastic it is, there always has to be that grounded element and believability. True. So super cool.
That's funny how you bring up that word he came up with, because it reminds me of Mixoplex, Mr. Mixoplex from Superman, coming up with some random ass word. You gotta guess it. That's pretty cool.
But yeah, and then obviously the Goonies, which is a lot of people's favorites. The Goonies was obviously before our time. I've seen the Goonies. I don't have an emotional connection to the Goonies because I didn't grow up with the movie, but I know a lot of people did. So
yeah, I heard a lot of special things from other people about the Goonies. I remember watching the Goonies once, and I thought it was entertaining,
Yeah.
Because I thought it was gonna be one of those cheap, like, because at the time I was watching a lot of Disney Channel movies because I grew up watching Nickelodeon, Disney Channel.
Same.
So I had like that, it's a cheap Disney Channel film thing in mind, but then it surprised me, That was how I went into it as a kid, because I saw it starred kids. So I'm like, okay, but it was really entertaining in its approach, and I really adored it,
So another thing that just came to my mind, which I want to bring up now, is so in that movie you have like full-grown adults who like are terrorizing children, right? Like these are not good adults, and these adults are bad people, and they want to hurt these kids. And I just thought about it, but it's like we just don't see that in kids movies anymore, where the adults just want to hurt the. You know what I'm saying? Like we just don't see that anymore.
It's like the kids are protected by this creative barrier. It's like you can't put the kids here.
Yeah,
you know,
you can't put the kids in danger.
Like,
you can't,
yeah.
you can't scare the kids too much. Blah 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 blah. And it's like I miss that about movies where it's like it's a kids movie, obviously, but you can still scare kids. It's okay to scare kids.
I even seen that in some R-rated horror films too. I think like there was like I think there was one Halloween movie where it was like kind of like they couldn't kill any kids, or it was like there was some horror franchise that couldn't kill any kids.
Yeah.
And so they had to like go around that, you know. I think one of the recent Halloween movies, I think it might have been the most recent one that came out in 2018. I think they did a scene where they had Myers approach a baby crib, and you think they set it up to think like, oh no, he's not gonna kill the baby, is he? But then he does it and he turns away. So I think that was like a little homage to that. Like, hey, remember that moment where slasher movies couldn't kill kids? You know? So that's very interesting how, you know, people are kind of sensitive to violence towards children on screen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially more so now. But like I remember you said in another episode of this show where you mentioned how villains in children's movies aren't scary anymore.
Okay, yeah, I thought I talked about it before. Yeah,
you did. And it was like you had these scary moments in your films, and it really jarred you. It really moved you as a kid, and you're like, holy crap, what the hell? You know, I remember even watching The Mummy. Remember Brendan Fraser's The Mummy?
Yep.
I love Mummy and Mummy Returns. I think as a kid I saw Returns before I saw the first one, interestingly enough. So I always had like a very close connection with those two films. Childhood right there. But the second movie is when the kid is on the train. Their son got kidnapped by the mummy, and so he's on the train, and there's a moment where the mummy is wrapped up in like this cloth, and he has a black mask on, and he's talking to the kid. And that whole moment, that whole scene was really creepy because one, the mask, the motionless mask, the wrapping, and then he takes it off and reveals his decrepit form to the kid. That was like, that freaked me out as a kid. And I'm like, holy crap, I love everything else in this movie because it's fun, except this scene. I remember putting the blanket over my head. I'm like, come on, man, finish. All right, cool, action. You know, it's like, I missed that. Like when you mentioned that, I'm like, holy crap, he's right. I miss being scared in my children's movies.
They don't have, I mean, they don't have moments like that anymore.
No.
Moments where you, in a kid's movie, where you want to look away, like you have to look away from the screen, obviously when you're a kid. I just don't think they do.
It's like the only way they'll make their villains now is if they're goofy. You have to laugh at the villains, you know. And I think the only one that probably did it right in a modern example of like a fun kids villain is probably Vector from Despicable Me, the first one. Jason Segel voices that character. And he was pretty hilarious. Because I went into that movie with low expectations, and I found that character is over exaggerated. Like, I'm popular, but he's really like a big loser. His over exaggeration, like, if I believe in hard enough, I'm cool, then I am cool. But it just makes him dorkier. I found that so hilarious. And they really built on that in that first movie. The first movie was just, that's it. I didn't really like any of the sequels.
Yeah.
But I really loved that villain. And I felt like a lot of other modern day kids movies kind of try to follow that formula. Let's make our villain funny.
Yeah.
Let's not make him that too much terrifying.
Yeah.
You know.
And I don't know if we're ever going to get back to those times.
Hopefully, one day, maybe something will change.
I hope, man. I hope. But
who knows?
Yeah, rest in peace to Richard Donner. You will be missed, sir. Oh, also too, before we get off the topic, he is the reason why Kevin Feige is who he is.
Very true.
Him and his wife were producers on the original X-Men films at Fox. And little known fact, Kevin Feige, who is the man behind the curtain for the MCU, he was a producer's assistant underneath them, and they brought him up in the industry. He worked on the original X-Men, and then he worked on Daredevil, and worked on all those early Marvel movies underneath them for Fox, pretty much, and then went off and started Marvel Studios. So,
and I would love to hear what they've told Kevin Feige. Imagine like the advice or the conversations that they had to really push Feige to be the juggernaut that he is today.
Yeah.
fucking. That's. I'm sorry if I swear too much, but
No,
that's
no,
insane,
dude.
man.
We can swear on the show. It's cool.
Okay, so I mean that's just fucking insane.
Yeah, I mean,
love it.
it's crazy to be, because you'd be like, oh, I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like he made the first Superman movie. I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, this man has shepherded the comic book movie scene from the beginning up until now. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kevin Feige has been able to go to this man and get guidance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
All the people that complain superhero movies are too formulaic, this guy created the formula, dude. He created the groundwork for the formula to be made, man. So yeah, it's a great loss, man. It is. But he made his mark on this world, man.
definitely,
With his cinema.
yeah,
And he's resting really well, man.
he's a great director. He will be missed. But he lived to be 91 years old, dude. That's a long life.
It is a long life.
He accomplished a lot in that life too, man. So
Very true.
now we are on to what? We're on to Loki, man. We're at the closing, the end of the tail end of the show. So we will be talking about Loki now. So if you guys, thank you guys so much for sticking with us and staying with us, talking all this fun movie news and speculating and having a good time.
Really
We're going to be talking about Loki, so there will be spoilers from this point on. So if you don't want to be spoiled,
You had time to catch up.
you know,
We were talking.
yeah,
for a little
you had time to go watch the show. I guess so. Before anybody leaves, if you want to just give your initial thoughts, no spoilers right now, but just give your initial thoughts on this episode.
Fun. I had fun with it.
Fun.
Yes.
Fun.
I mean, if you go back and look at it, might find some flaws, but as of right now, I just remember having fun, beginning to end. I was like, "Ooh, this is where they're going. They're going wacky," and I love it.
I see in the chat, Sammy, I saw your message, by the way. You said that Slytherin was where it's at. And then you retracted you retracted your message, but I did see it. So just saying. Bring it
Like a
on.
snake. It comes in,
Bring it
see
on.
what it is, and then just slithers right back out.
Yeah.
just like a snake. Yeah.
Oh, Edward says Trog.
Drug.
Which I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a spoiler or not. But no, you said this was fun. I think so here's my initial thoughts. I think this was the best episode by far. I think this was the most fun. And the payoff at the end of this episode, specifically with this character, is awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it.
My heart, man. When I saw
Now, okay, so I recommend, obviously go watch Loki. If you want to be, this is my thing too. If you're just somebody who watches the movies, I think they're going to do a good job probably taking you along without watching the series on Disney Plus, but I still think you need to. I think it's almost required watching at this point. I don't know how you can skip the Disney Plus shows and just watch the movies, right?
Very much so.
I
mean, yeah. Disney was smart in their marketing. That's the main reason why I have Disney Plus is these Marvel shows, man.
Yeah, and yeah, they're literally making them as like, no, you have to see these in order to like keep up with what's going on, I think. Now, here's my question. With WandaVision was like the first one.
Yep.
And there was a lot of speculation. There was a lot of theories that were thrown out there.
Kind of got crazy, man.
Got so crazy. But also, too, you have to think that was coming off of, we hadn't had any Marvel content for like a year.
Very true.
So, dude, like the hype was crazy. Now,
Yeah.
I couldn't, we tried to predict that show, but some people got close, some people didn't, some things changed, blah, blah, blah. This one, I feel like I've been able to track and almost predict pretty closely.
Interesting.
Well, because obviously you know who's set up
Right.
at the end of this episode. We think
Not, man. Ooh, it's gonna be right.
right. Well, we think there's a couple options, but we think that. So we think that Kang is behind, and we've thought that Kang is behind this from like what, episode 3 or whatever. Like I feel like I've very, very much so throughout this series.
Yeah, big advocate for Kang.
And so I don't know, I have many thoughts. I've talked about this before too, but it's like I think I hit my glasses. I think as a Marvel fan, I'm just what they're setting up. But as somebody who doesn't read the comics, if somebody who doesn't know these things, is it exciting or is it too drawn out? Is it too long? Because I feel like somebody who doesn't read the comics, if like we see all these Easter eggs and we see Trog and we see, we're like, oh, we see all these things. Mm-hmm. But for somebody who can't spot these things, who doesn't know, and then at the end, say if Kang comes, are they just going to be like, one, they're going to be like, who's this?
Yeah.
2, they're going to be like, this is it? Because obviously we can't explain the whole backstory of who Kang is in this series. So you're going to end this series on some sort of cliffhanger. You're not going to be able to fully explain who Kang is until further episodes. But I just wonder, if people are going to be like, that was kind of underwhelming. But for us fans, it's like, no, this is not underwhelming. This is incredible. Like, this is what we wanted. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I feel like back in 2012, they might have took that same risk, debating whether or not to show Thanos this early. Like, do people know who he is? Are people going to get that? Are they going to care later on?
Yeah.
It took them time, but people look back and like, oh my God, and they think back to it, it's like, oh, that was such a good tease, So I think for them to introduce Kang at the end of this, I hear the concern, but I think it's going to probably pay homage to that first Thanos reveal.
Mm-hmm.
It might just be like, okay, we're going to reveal this tyrant early on, and then we're going to go into other stuff for the meanwhile. But don't forget, he's still there. It's kind of like the same thing they did in 2012. There is a tyranny coming, and it's going to be here. But I'm thinking if they're going to end it with Kang, then they must leave it open for Ant-Man and Wasp.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So does that mean Loki's going to be in Ant-Man and Wasp? That's going to be crazy.
Maybe.
Who knows? Because I know Kang is going to be in there. So it's going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Another thing that struck me, obviously with all of these Marvel series, but mainly this one, was how far we've come. Because obviously we like to talk about filmmaking on this channel, on this show. It's what we do. Dude, the amount of visual effects that are in this episode kind of blew my mind. I was like, wow. This is like feature film level visual effects. Like on a show.
I expect nothing less from Disney.
No, I expect nothing less from Disney, but I just kept...
Yeah.
You mentioned it's funny, but like, I guess my mind didn't necessarily go directly to the Disney the Disney Channel original movies, but like, I did go back to the early, our childhood and look at those old, those older TV show movies or whatever, and I'm like, wow. But it also made me admire them a lot more because I'm like, wow, they were working with way less.
True.
Way less technology, way less budget, and
they still had to make beloved characters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think they did a great job for what. So I don't know. Like I get in these modes where like I'll see something very modern and I'll be amazed. But we get so much of it nowadays that I'm just kind of like, it's kind of, I get it. But there are times when I'm like, I think back to like 20 years ago or, and I'm just like, I admire those guys because those guys didn't have the tools that these people have nowadays. And they made some very entertaining, some very thoughtful shit. Like, I don't know. I find myself being super inspired by the people of the past because I'm like, man.
Oh, yeah. That reminds me of like when I saw the making of Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Spielberg, like what they had to work with, like the mechanical shark not always working, so they had to come up with the idea that we have to use barrels, tie the barrel, like they tie the barrel to the shark, and that's how we know where the shark's at. That was just freaking brilliant. Man.
Exactly.
Like, holy crap,
Yeah.
that's independent filmmaking 101. You got to use your resources, and we stated that way earlier in the episode. Using your resources is a big thing when it comes to filmmaking, you know. And yeah, just to see the behind the scenes of that and see how they accomplished that, and like a movie shot on water, it's very inspiring, very very inspiring.
But overall, I think, what was your favorite part of the episode?
Handful. Just that little second of Trog was like,
Oh yeah,
yeah, like I love that little second, man, because my mind was racing. I didn't think Trog at first. I thought maybe a shrunken Thor, Pym particle, because I thought of you ever read Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe? And I think he uses
parts of it. I've read parts of it.
He in one of them, spoiler, he uses a Pym particle to enlarge Mjolnir. So when Thor calls it back, it crushes him instantly. So when I saw that Mjolnir was stuck in the dirt, and then there was like a tiny version of Thor stuck in a jar, I ultimately thought of that callback from Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. And I'm like, ooh, did something similar happen here? But then I saw its hop, the way it hopped towards the hammer, and I'm like, oh, that's Thor.
Yeah, you're like, oh,
man,
that's strong.
Yeah, but dude, just those couple seconds were really hype. But other than that, I really loved the Loki fights. The president, when they revealed President Loki, and they all went into the bunker, and they all just ended up fighting each other. He gets his hand ripped off by the alligator. That was awesome. That was really cool.
That was probably my favorite part too. Also too, I did love the when he's taking the thing and he's building Asgard as the distraction. For the monster. He said,
I forgot. Yeah,
he says,
100%.
he's like glorious purpose, blah 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 blah. So,
that was really beautiful. Like it got me. It got the heart, man. And this guy was only in he wasn't even in 2 episodes, dude. And I felt his loss. And I was like, holy crap. And that was so beautiful too, because he did find his glorious purpose.
He did. Now I have two questions. I have 2 questions for you. One, what's up with the Loki and Sylvie connection? Where do you think that's going? Do you think that's romantic? Do you think that's not romantic? What do you think?
I think there has to be a little bit of romance. I mean, they're setting it up way too much for there to be a bit of romance. However, I don't think they're gonna go full on. We're a couple. We're gonna rule together. They could, but I don't think they are. I think what this is like a kind of like an experience for both of them. Like they mentioned it before. They both they don't know what they're doing. I love how that line, they're like, do you know what we're doing? I don't even know what we're doing right now. And that's flirting. That's being intimate with one another. And that's something Loki has never experienced ever before. So we have his friendship experience with Mobius, and now we have his relationship experience with Sylvie. And I think they're not going to go any further than that. They're just going to be that first attraction to someone else. How does it feel to have that love connection with someone else? So that's, I think, just his first experience.
I think
like a childhood.
I think you're right. Although I have noticed too, we don't really talk about that this much on the show, but it's something that I want to bring to our viewers, is the idea of setups and payoffs in these shows and in films. What they've been setting up, and they've mentioned it multiple times, is that Luke, I almost called them Loki's always lose. And so I'm wondering if Sylvie is going to die.
Yeah.
And Loki is going to lose, because Loki's always lose. True.
Very true. That's wow, dude. You just created like a William Shakespeare ending, dude. And that's tragic. I think if you're going to have a series surround a villain, I guess it has to end in tragedy, because ultimately Loki is a villain. And that's what I've always wondered too when I was watching this.
Yeah.
Like, wow, they're making him really, really good and lovable.
Yeah.
Is he supposed to be a villain? Because they kind of did this with Black Widow, because I remember Black Widow being a villain in the comics. She was like here and there undercover for S.H.I.E.L.D. I always remember she was always on a bad side, And so I'm like, okay, now she's Avengers. Cool. All right, that's a cool change. But then seeing it with Loki, I'm like, all right, are they really going with this heroic side? So I feel like ending it in tragedy, great loop to bring him back around to his evil trickster self. He lost everything he built, and that's so sad. You almost don't want to see him go through it, but it's inevitable.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe in a weird, sick way, that is his glorious purpose.
Well,
I don't know.
That was
That's
gonna,
just
that was yeah
speculation.
that was going to be my next question. Is what do you think that our Loki's glorious purpose is going to be?
Maybe, if not that. I actually never thought about this. I'll be honest with you, because I want to just be surprised by what the series will bring. But I think, if anything, easy route would probably be to expose Kang, to bring Kang to existence, because somehow, some way, if he's behind it and they reveal who he is, somehow it's going to create repercussions for other people to know.
Yep.
You know, maybe Thor's going to show up at the end, and then maybe it's like a Thor from the New York. So when he finally first meets him, like they come into interaction, Thor's pissed. He's like, Loki, because he's after him and he thinks he escaped, right? Well, he did
Exactly.
escape.
Yeah.
So he comes after him. He's like about to fight him and shit. And it's a whole different Loki now. Whole different Loki. So that'd be a lovely interaction if like Chris Hemsworth popped up.
That'd
like,
be fun.
He's like, I shot some things here and there for Loki, you know? So
Yeah.
he's like,
Another.
yeah. Great callback too. Asgardian singing. Oh my goodness, that's so beautiful.
Oh.
But yeah, I think something like that. Like his purpose is to bring attention and awareness to Kang, because Kang's the next big threat. And who knows? Maybe Loki will lose in that. Maybe he doesn't win against Kang. You know, obviously, we need the heroes to win against Kang.
Exactly.
But you know, maybe that tragic ending will come. Maybe Loki will be scarred after this. I like that thought. But yeah, I think maybe it's to bring attention to Kang. That's his purpose.
I didn't even think about that, but that could be, is to bring Kang into the universe and make his presence known. Well, I enjoyed. We got one more episode left, episode 6. So we got.
Wait a minute. What do you think it is? Did you think of what his glorious purpose could be?
I didn't have one. That's why I asked you. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. The one thing I had was the Sylvie dying was my theory. I don't know his glorious purpose.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah, I never thought of that either. I wanted to be surprised to see what they really bring out. You know.
Mm-hmm. So
And I wonder if we're gonna see. Yeah, I wonder if we're gonna see not only his, but maybe others eventually. Their glorious, because I don't know. Maybe not, because it seemed like in this episode they said goodbye to those other 2 Lokis. I don't think they might be coming back in the next episode.
yeah, I think they walked off.
They're gone.
Yeah, I think they had
Yeah.
I think they're done.
Okay, so yeah, I would really like to see Sylvie's glorious purpose, and if that's to die for some sacrifice, then so be it.
Right,
But it
or
would be
destroy
nice
the
to see,
TVA.
you know, or destroy the
That
TVA. It
seems
was
to
nice-
be what they're setting up for her.
very much so. I feel like they set it up for also Owen Wilson as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
For Mobius. That last line, you gotta burn it down, you know? That was pretty
Yeah, no,
awesome. I wanted
definitely.
to see
Yeah, no,
Mobius.
they brought. Well, that's the other thing. I guess that's another thing. Are we going to see Mobius again in the next episode, or did he walk off on this one too?
I hope so. I hope we see Mobius one more time, because he still has to confront Ravana. Because
Yeah,
Ravana's
true.
one shady ass,
True.
you know, like, so she got some things up her sleeve. And if you know the comics, Ravana and Kang.
Yes. Tell people
So-
spoilers, but yeah.
Well, possible spoilers. Ravana is Kang's love interest, isn't she?
Yeah,
She's
girlfriend, yeah. Or
Yeah,
like, yeah,
she's
they're
like,
together. They're a couple, yeah.
Isn't she like a queen of like some planet or something? Like she's like a ruler in her own right, and that's why they kind of came together. Could be wrong on that.
I don't know that much about her.
I
I just know that
I
they're
remember
together.
she's like probably some intergalactic queen, and they came together because they both conquered things. I'm assuming. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, she is Kang's love interest, girlfriend in the comics. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with her character. And the closest one she's to right now is Mobius.
Mhm.
So Mobius has to come back for one more episode. One more.
Yeah. You can't and Mobius can't die again. Please don't
You can't.
let us go through that, please.
No, I feel like he should show up in Spider-Man as a fun little cameo.
Oh, that'd be
because,
awesome.
You know, the multiverse is going wacky, so why not have him like,
Bring him back bring him back in Doctor Strange. Come on.
Or Doctor Strange would be cool too, you know.
I think
Mobius.
everybody should show up in Doctor Strange. Everybody should show up in Doctor Strange.
If Spider-Man is getting an ambitious sequel, Doctor Strange needs the ambitious sequel as well. I mean, let's just do it.
So do you think there's going to ever be a spin-off series for the Lokis that were the alligator Loki, Kid Loki, and then obviously future Loki? Do you think they're going to get a spin-off series of some kind or some sort of story or anything?
Future Loki, that's who he was. Like, how he was. So I think there could be, but there's potential there. But I don't think maybe like a full-on like movie or a series. I
Yeah.
think maybe a Marvel one-shot, a one-off maybe.
Maybe.
Like what they did with Civil War, Team Thor. That was so awesome.
True.
Yeah, so they could have that as like a one-shot, directed by the same director, Kate Hudson, I think her name is, the director. But yeah, they could have it as a one-off, and it'd be just as entertaining, I think.
Mhm.
You know, or they could possibly bring them back in Love and Thunder. Who knows? They
Pretty
could bring
cool.
them back if they wanted to. It'd be pretty cool to see what Taika Waititi does with these characters. But yeah, I think most likely a one-shot would be cool with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that'll do it for tonight. It's getting kind of late.
Is it?
It's a little
Going on 10.
It's a little late. It's going on 10. So I think we're gonna wrap it up tonight. Thank you so much, Christian, for coming on. It was a super fun time.
No problem. Thank you for having me, man.
Of course,
This is awesome.
of course, dude. I like I've said before. I talk about this stuff all the time. So I just kind of was like, why don't I just do a show? Why don't I just bring on people? That's the whole point. I really enjoy having guests on. I really enjoy meeting people. Like you're a very interesting person. You have your own stuff going on. You're creating your own things, and that's kind of, again, something that I really want to do with this channel and this show is showcase people's work. Obviously, we want to review movies and movie news, but I really want to shine light on my colleagues and the stuff they're making, and give a platform for people to talk about their why they do the things they do. So
yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm all for it.
I'm very excited. Well, definitely want to have you back again very soon.
Love to be back, man. Let's just do it. Well, episode 6. Let's talk about episode 6 if you want to.
Well, yeah, dude, you can come back for episode 6. That's cool.
Yeah,
and yeah, well, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're still around, if you haven't yet, please
thank you.
drop a like. You can also subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. It helps out a ton. Go over to Christian's channel, like and subscribe to his channel. He does movie reviews and movie reactions, all that fun stuff. Is there anything else planned for the channel, or
for my channel?
Yeah.
I just want to keep up with it as much as possible.
For sure.
Like, I've seen a handful of movies that I'm writing down my reviews for them,
Mhm.
and I like but the hard part is getting the footage. I think that's like one of my tricky parts, but
Yes.
it's fun when I get it all together.
Yes.
And then the copyrights. But I don't want to get down that rabbit hole. Not that rabbit hole.
Yes.
But as of right now, I want to do more movie reviews because I've been doing a lot of series and trailer reactions.
Yes.
And I remember I based my channel off of being a movie review channel, so I need to get more movie reviews on there.
Start doing that too. Yeah, I don't have any movie reviews on this channel yet. I face the thing of like, I'm like, oh, I want to review this movie, but I'm like, oh no, it's not, because then like that's my review for the movie. So I'm always like,
Right.
well, what if I have more to say? I'm always like, yeah, I want to review Spider-Man.
I'm always rewatching them, right?
Yeah, but I'm like, what if I have more to say about Spider-Man? I'm not ready to do my Spider-Man review yet.
And then just do a whole video essay on it, and it's like, this is why Spider-Man is the best superhero.
And then it evolves into, this is why Spider-Man is the best. Part 8. This is
Part
why
8.
Part 9,
Yeah.
Part 10. And then they're like, okay, man, you're on like Part 50. Can we?
Of your retrospective. Can you like wrap it up soon, please? You're still on the first movie too. There's like 2 other movies. Like what?
But see, that would be what the channel would turn into. I'd be
Right.
like the long movie reviewer, and it's just like this guy never stops talking about the same movie.
Yeah. And then the video comes out how I got to my current position.
Yeah.
on this channel.
Yes.
Then you look back at your transition. But yeah, that was pretty.
And
cool.
I'll show the chart, and I'll be like, you can see the views dip as I continue to just publish video after video about the same movie.
Clearly, when I find myself, people aren't on board. Okay, I see how
That's fine.
it's fine. I'm having fun. Last thing I want to say, Alan commented about who's behind it all. He said Ralph Boner. He triggered me, man. He really triggered me with that because I was really, yeah. I don't want to go on for another hour, but I got to point that out.
No, that wasn't yeah, that was kind of a weird move by Disney, but
very weird.
oh well.
Oh well, what are you gonna do? It's in the past.
I think. Do you think that was a troll move? Do you think they did that just to troll fans?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Unless they bring him back, and I don't know if they're not gonna bring him back. 100%. That was like a hey, look it, we can do this because we're Marvel.
Yep.
You know, it's like we can do this.
We pay attention to you guys. Just FYI.
Although, and now thinking back to it, who knows? What if that was like their little T saying like, hey, we can cross over to other studios, so prepare for the future. But the way they set us up for that was a dumb boner joke. You know, I don't know.
Well,
who knows? I'm trying to, you know, make it.
Well,
make it better.
I think it's a troll too, but also too the meme culture.
Mhm.
Like you almost have to every single popular show I wonder almost if it's a studio mandate now, where it's like
True.
your show has to be memeable. Like you have to have stuff in there for the fans so that it can be memed, because that's how we stay relevant in the pop culture. Like I that could be, that could not be, but
So do you think
it wouldn't
this
surprise
Vin Diesel? So do you think this Vin Diesel meme for family is just a marketing poll for people to go see Fast 9?
it very well could be.
Ooh, we gone down another rabbit hole.
But we'll save that for the next episode. We'll open with that discussion.
Yes, that'd be a good discussion to open.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
If you want to come back for episode 6, dude, I'm totally down. That's totally cool.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Awesome, dude. All right.
Cool.
Thank you guys so much. We're gonna sign off. I'm getting tired. I have not been sleeping well, so I've been waking up super early. But anyways, have a good night, guys. Continue to watch Loki. Continue to be a Marvel fan. Oh, Black Widow comes out this week, so
Widow.
go see that. I don't know if I'm gonna see that. I don't know when I'm gonna see that.
It's not an urgent watch, but it's going to be watched.
It'll be watched, but I'm not sure when I'll see that. Loki episode 6 has my attention right now. So,
Right.
take care, guys, and we'll talk to you later.
Take it easy. The rendered image after dark. It's just on a 3-hour loop now. Oh, it's still going. It's